Good morning, happy Friday. It is Friday. It is my Friday at work. I just came out from night shift and it is Friday. And my weekend of choice is Friday, Saturday. Thankfully, in my profession, you can choose your weekends because we work, every day of the week. So my usual excess on my schedule when I put myself down for the self-scheduler is Saturday for sure. Sometimes I work Friday day, but I would never work Friday night, and I don't work Friday day, but I may work Friday night. I don't work Friday night. I do not work Saturday day. I may work Friday day. I may work Friday night, Saturday night. Oh, so basically sundown Friday through sundown Saturday, I do not work. Because I observe the Jewish Sabbath. I'm Seventh-day Adventist, and we observe the Jewish Sabbath, believing it to be the Lord's rest day, and those are the hours. So that is my rest day. But also on Friday, I try not to schedule anything for at least, in the afternoon, because we go to Angelo's folks' place to see, of course, to see his parents, and also to see the birds. You may have seen some of my IG stories. The parakeets are there, and Sparky loves whenever we go visit. We're just at the gate, and she's already, screaming from the gate because she hears the other birds, and so she's greeting them. It's the cutest thing, and she just dives in there into the cage with them and tries to make friends. And that's when we feed them the millet, which they go nuts over. What else? So there have been a few rounds of babies, at least 2-3 rounds of babies, and they've grown quite big, and I can't tell which are the babies and which were the original ones. Angelo can. Yeah, that's Friday. So I'm happy that my shift went well. I was floated to the ICU. I had 4 patients. Initially, I got nervous because I saw 5 lines next to my name for the assignment. But I had 2 patients in one room, and then the second room, which had 2 beds, only the front bed had a patient, so that was mine. And the next room over, so the third room, had 2 patients in it, but only 1 bed was mine. So basically I had 3 rooms, 2 patients in one, and then 1 each in the other 2 rooms. So I had a total of 4 patients. But I guess if someone had to come down, get intubated, come to the ICU overnight, it might have been my bed. I would have ended up with 5. So anyway, again, I'm still so happy and blessed to have, so far, the most I've had to take care of is 4 patients in the ICU. And again, everyone's on drips, but thankfully they weren't at very fast rates or high doses, so they weren't running out quite as fast as the other time when I had 4 patients, where literally one would finish off and the next pump goes off, and it's just like all 4 of them going around and around after each other. So this one was pretty stable like that. Was much better, and I had help as well. So what they've been doing in the hospital is, for an ICU trained nurse, they if there's someone available, they would give you like an LVN or even an RN, but they're just not ICU trained, so they can't have their own patients, but they can help you with the vitals, with the intakes and outputs. So like if they're feeding, or if they have Foley catheter, so they're able to check those numbers. They're able to take vital signs. They're able to do blood sugar checks and give. I think they can give the insulin coverage, and they can also administer oral medication. So some of them, though, they don't have access to the medication. Excuse me, the medication dispenser system, the Pyxis, whatever we call it, the Pyxis. That's where you badge in, and then you just type in like, and your patients are listed on there, and their medications are there, so you just click which ones you want to take out, and the machine dispenses it. So some of them don't have access to the Pyxis, so you'll have to pull the medication for them, but then they can give it. So it's very helpful. It's a lot of help. So last night I had an LVN, and so he was able to do a lot of the things, and he's like a really big guy, so he was very helpful with like the cleaning. Imagine if you had like a super big patient and it was a tiny person, and then your helper was also a tiny person. Like this morning, like literally 2 minutes before 7, had to change one of the patients because he had a bowel movement. And if it was a smaller patient, sometimes I would just do it myself, just turn them or clean them up as best as I can. But he was a pretty big guy, so I needed to. I hate. I had to call in so they call it extender. So I had to call in my extender to help me, and even if he was a big guy, he had to like really pull on the patient to pull him for us to be able to clean him. So I'm glad that he was big, because I don't think another one of me would have been able to like do it as well, just because of what we were up against. But anyway, got him cleaned up, and so it was a lot of help. Having those extenders are very helpful, literally to extend what you can do. So I'm not saying it's a safe alternative to being out of ratio. Definitely not. I think having more than 2, definitely more than 3 patients in the ICU, regardless of what they're on, what their code status is not safe at all. But if it's gonna happen anyway, at least I'm glad that there are extenders. Like, imagine if I had to have all of them and also do all the vital signs for them, because when they double up the patients in a room, the other bed, so one bed, the original bed in that room, is already hooked up to the wall monitor and all that. So when their vital signs are red, like when their cuff goes off or their oxygen saturation is being monitored, it comes up on the computer and you can just save it. But for the other bed, for the one that's the extra bed, it's there's just like a little mobile unit that they put in the room, so that's not hardwired to anything, so you have to manually put in all the numbers. So the B bed, the second bed, they take those vitals and put those numbers in, because they don't automatically slave over. So having that is already a lot of help. I mean, you do the vitals every hour, and you think, like, hey, I'm gonna have enough time to do vitals on 4 patients because I have an hour. No, sometimes you go in there, you do a task, and then it takes you like 20 minutes to do something, so your hour's up. It's already time for the next round of vitals, and you're still, so like last night I started, all my medications were due at 10 o'clock, so I started my passes at like 9:30, but I didn't finish until almost after nearly midnight. And this is with just 4 patients, pushing medication, giving oral medication, IV, oral, and subcutaneous medication. And it took me 9:30 2 hours to do. I know, it sounds crazy. And when I think about it, I'm like, what was I doing? Okay, granted, when I go in the room, I also, I wipe them down and clean them. Okay, so it was a lot of stuff that I was doing. But just so to show that it's not just you go in the room and do one thing. You try to cluster your care so you minimize going in and out of rooms. So you try to do that anyway in regular nursing care, but now, especially with COVID, you want to minimize the time that you're in the rooms, or the time that you're going in and out of the room. So you try to do as much as you can each time that you go in. So that's what I was trying to do. So I was along with that. I was in the room, so doing them in med passes and just generally cleaning up the room and cleaning up my patients. But the other times were pretty quick in and out. So yes, again, I guess to summarize, it is not safe. I'm not advocating. I'm not happy about these new ratios, but if they were to happen anyway, and they are happening, I'm glad there are extenders. So it was funny because there was one of the nurses from my home unit, which is the step down, that was there, and I was like, oh, which side are you on? And he's like, I'm on the other side, I'm an extender. So he was an extender, and he is a BSN RN, and he's an extender. I'm like, what? Why don't they just give you your own patients? Because then, he could just have his own patients. Why did he have to be an extender? And he was like, oh, because I'm not ICU cross-trained. I was like, oh. So yeah, so there are nurses that are like full-on nurses, which I work with on the step down, but because they don't have the ICU cross training, do not, because they do not have the ICU cross training, they are being mobilized as extenders. So cool stuff. We are in strange times, and we are coming up with very creative solutions to problems. Well, which is, what's that quote about necessity being the mother of invention, or something like that? So yeah, I hope everyone has a great weekend. I'm super excited to be heading home, and actually I have clocked out before 8 o'clock. Thank you, Lord, for surge charting, or crisis charting, whatever the term is, where we don't have to chart as much as prior. There's still a lot of charting to be done, but not as much as before. I would say maybe half as much, or maybe 2/3 as much as before. So, which is already helpful, because again, we are out of ratio. Yes, so going to enjoy this day. Ooh, I have a class. I have an online class for my other hospital. 3 hours, 9 to 12, yeah. So it is 8:18 right now. So I might have enough time to actually shower before I run on. Take a quick shower, and then hop onto the Zoom for a class, and then go to sleep, take a nap, and then go. Ooh, I'm gonna get a facial. And then go to Angela's parents' place. Alright, so that is my Friday. Oh, I have to prepare a song as well. I forgot. I have a song that I'm supposed to do for church tomorrow. Okay, got some stuff still left to do, but TGIF. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody.